Welcome back. So last lesson I kind of discussed with you where we should put this get user. Now the problem is actually that this is actually a combination of something that's very specific to authentication and then something that's very specific to actually getting a user. So I think I want to just rename this guy for now to getting auth user like this, because this is the stuff that I'm getting from the authenticated user, and then I'll keep it in here for now. Then I want to make a new user service inside a new user module so that you guys can get an entire user management system if you want that up and running, where you can kind of manage your user. You might want to delete users, you might want to disable users, you might want to, I don't know, reset passwords. I don't know what you want to do, but you might have a user management system for the administrators of this actual app, the entire app, not the users of the app, but the administrators of the app. So we might even add roles and crazy stuff like that. To do that, we need a new module. So I'll do an ng generate module, and I'll call this the user module, so we can start working with that module. Inside that module, I want to do one more thing. I want to generate a service, and I want that to get under the user module, under the shared folder, and there I want a service called user. So it's user module, shared folder, user, right? Let's try and actually open this and see what we got inside our app now, this new user folder down here. And the user folder has a module, doesn't do anything. It also has a shared user service right here that we can start using. Now notice one thing, it didn't actually declare this user service as a provider. So let me just do that right away. Providers, we're going to declare our new user service that we just built. There we go. And let's just make this into a couple of lines just to make it easier to read. There we go. So now we want to kind of have this user service know about the auth service so it can get the auth user and create an actual user, right? So let's try and do that in the user service. I'm just going to, for now, just grab this code, and I'm just going to put it down here into the user service code. But instead of using the actual constructor, we're not going to use the Firebase auth, because instead we want to actually use our auth service, because that's where we have the user available. Now this pretty much just decouples the access to Firebase, right? I don't need the access to the auth part of Firebase. I just need the access for the database part of Firebase inside my user service. So I'm just trying to decouple things here just a little bit. Now this pretty much means that I can now call the auth service, and from there I can actually get the auth user right here. It's not provided right now because I'm forgetting the private keyword up here, so let's just add that. There we go. Now I'm not going to map anything now. I just want to kind of return this guy like it is, because for now it's just returning a basic user, and let's just keep that for now. We will extend this later lessons because we want to, of course, add more information to this service before we actually return it. So let's try and jump back to the auth service right now, because it pretty much means that right now in the profile page I'm still using the auth service to get the user. Now I don't want to do that anymore. I want to start using my user service instead to get the user. So let's just write user right here. Now nothing else has changed except that I'm using the user service instead of the auth service, and I can now get user from the user service, except I didn't name it get user, I named it get auth user. So let's just change that. In the user service it should be called get user, not get auth user, because this is actually the entire user that I'm getting right here when I'm done. That should actually help this guy. So now it works again. Sweet. I want to do one more thing, because since I already added a shared user folder, let's actually move the user down here. So I'm going to copy this guy down here, the user. Let me try and save that. And it pretty much just means that now the user is where he belongs under the shared user inside the service, right? So if I open this guy, it's just a user, I just moved him. And this should be all I had to do. Let's try and see if everything still works. We can still log in, we still log out, everything seems to work yet. So we just added a new module preparing for working with users. We added a new user service, and we moved the user TypeScript file so that we have the user available under the user setup right here. Then you can start adding components here to kind of manage users if you want to. We could maybe move the user profile if we wanted to later on, but I'm not going to do that now. Instead, what we're going to do next is we're going to do so that we can actually start saving extra user information to our users. See you in the next lesson. Have fun.